flashing that it's recording.
It is recording.
First day, so we'll do this with the adults on the last day. Who came the farthest? Okay, you're not an adult yet, Steve. No one's told you that yet. Yeah, you Paul, where'd you folks come from?
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis? Over here?
Iowa?
Iowa. You guys drove up just to...
North Carolina.
They win.
You win.
Any other parents? How about over here? Winnipeg. Any other parents here tonight? Parents are pretty important because they're the reason that you guys are here. You know that? Well, we'll go ahead and get the program started. My name's Andy Miller, and just a quick introduction on the table over here. Actually, start over here in the corner of this town. Bob's first. She's just going to wave. You got some letters from her. She is running the house, in charge of things over there at Division of Continuing Education. So you got some letters from her as well as in the packet, the welcome packet and whatnot. She's done a lot of work to get the program coordinated and underway and gotten all the schedules, all that good stuff. She's been tremendous help to us. Here we have Adrian. Adrian herself, she's from Winnipeg, and you probably remember her from the tour. Stephanie Kelson, do you guys remember her? No. She was one of the counselors with us, Stephanie Kelson, and Kim Polovitz, who's going to come up here in just a moment, and then Sean Kelly, who's also one of the counselors for Aerospace.
That's my.
I'd like to do at this time is have Kim Polovitz come up and kind of give a welcome, and then we'll get started eating.
More welcomes, but I wanted to do that. As we said 10 days ago, we have a smaller group than normal, but that's okay. I think we've had a fun group, probably more fun than some of the other bigger groups. But welcome to parents and family that are here. We're on obviously the final leg of the first session of our aerospace camp, and I think it was a pretty good one. We're going to have some fun this evening. This isn't a real formal affair, so don't worry too much about that. Andy probably has told you that you are our guest speakers tonight, and so we have 20 guest speakers, and we've asked them to think about what was their most memorable event of the last 10 days and their most fun event. Now, it might be the same thing, but not necessarily. So you guest speakers, be thinking about that. We want a minimum of 15-minute speech from each of you. No, we'll anything much over 15 seconds, and you might get the hook. So, but we want you to think about that. And seriously, what was your most memorable event, and what was your most fun event? And then if you can't remember and you just draw a blank, we're going to have, thanks to Andy, our chief administrative officer for the camp, and also our chief photographer, captured most of the moments on film, so we'll review that as well. So we're going to have some fun. Got good news and bad news. The bad news is this is really the last time we're all going to be together as a group. And many of you have made new friends and become very close, and certainly you've all gained several friends with the camp staff. That was the bad news. The good news is the meal has been catered by Wilkerson for you. No, it's a double good news. It's not catered by Wilkerson, and so we're gonna enjoy the food. And say again?
Maybe we don't get to kill the chicken.
Well, it might be a squawking under there. I'm not sure, but I don't think so. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to have some great guest speakers, and a review of the whole camp, and we're going to conclude it all and say goodbyes, but hopefully just briefly. So the goodbyes will hopefully be briefly, and you'll stay in touch with us. But we'll talk about that later. Andy, are you ready to eat?
Ready to eat.
Okay. How do you want to do it? Clifford Hall 210, remember that?
What?
Remember that?
Yeah.
ESS 210, remember how hot it was in there?
Oh, yeah.
And that's when we welcomed you and we said that this is actually a 10-day seminar. And it wasn't promotional? That's true. Well, just to reiterate a little bit, we really hope that we fulfilled our purpose or our philosophy of the camp in that you had a good introduction to a lot of different careers and different outlooks on the aviation and aerospace industry. That was really our goal, if you recall. We had two goals. One is that one, to give you a good introduction to that, and certainly highlight it with an introduction to flight and flying different types of aircraft. And secondly, we wanted you to have some fun. And I asked you 10 days ago if you didn't have any fun to talk to Andy about it. But hopefully you did. And thirdly, I don't know if we mentioned it, but we wanted you to make some new friends, and that always happens at our camps, and I think it happened here too. So promise us one thing, that no matter what you go into or as you start exploring careers and looking at what you might want to pursue as a career, remember my talk? That was probably the most memorable thing that happened, right? My career talk? I'm sure it was. Boring? I can't imagine. But promise me that you'll keep asking those questions that we kept asking you to ask. Ask yourself, how do you get from point A to point B? And what's the best avenue for you? And seriously do a lot of research in that. And because it's a big step that you're about ready to make in your career exploration and planning and development. You're at that age now where it's going to start. And that was our purpose of this camp, was to hopefully introduce you to many things about the aerospace industry that maybe you hadn't seen or experienced before. And so promise us you'll do that, no matter what career you might end up pursuing. And it's true, we're not here to sell UND and to twist your arm to come to UND, or even twist your arm to go into aviation. If you do that, great. But if you don't, and you pursue other careers, which many of you will, and probably most of you will, when you boil it down, we hope that you ask those questions and you do the research and analysis and ask those questions of how do I get there, how does it work, and I'm sure you'll be very successful in whatever you might end up doing. If we can be of any assistance to you down the road, please don't hesitate to call us. And we hear back from campers, alums of the camp, all the time. And some come to UND, but most don't. But we hear back from those that haven't, and they're doing other things. And occasionally they ask us, well, what do you think is the best route for me to go, or should I do this, or what do you think about that? And we certainly offer our advice. And if you have those type of questions and you want to bounce them off us, feel free to give us a call. So we hope you had a good time. We're going to hear about that in the next couple of minutes. We hope you made some friends, and we hope that you got a good introduction to the aerospace, the aviation industry, and made you think a little bit about that too. Thanks for being part of the group. This is our 11th annual, and you were a good group. We had a lot of fun. Believe it or not, I was behind the scenes most of the time, and which you obviously knew. But I found out just about everything you were up to all the time. And though I wasn't there all the time, we keep in touch. And all the feedback was positive, and that's really good to hear. So, again, thanks for being part of our group, and we look forward to hearing from you, and maybe we'll see you in the future down the road. Thank you. Andy, are you next? My CEO.
We have 20 guest speakers to go through. Steve, you want to go first, right?
Yes,
No, Steve, have a seat. We haven't started yet. When you come up here, stand behind the podium talking to the microphone like this so that everybody can hear you. And then once you're done, just come around the front. Steph has a graduation certificate for you, and Sean has the camp photo for you. 5x7 glass to take home. Pack it well so it does not break. Okay?
Put it in my flight bag.
All right. All we want you to do again is share your most memorable moment and your favorite moment. They may be one and the same. Remember, everybody is going to walk away here feeling very good. It was a very successful camp. Nobody had to go home. No one got in trouble. Everything was just a wonderful. My point with that is, when you guys come up and share, I want you to share, and I want to be earnest and not to point to anybody else and make them feel embarrassed or anything. Okay? It's supposed to be fun, so keep it fun. No pointing fingers at anybody. Jason, you're first.
Well, I guess I'd say my most memorable was the helicopter ride, and probably my most fun would be the decathlon.
Oh, fine, huh?
Yeah.
It was in the booklet. Yeah, right up the
It's an aerobatic. Oh. Thank you.
The cadet is our trainer, the decathlon is our aerobatic airplane, the bell is our helicopter, the citation is the jet, and what else? The balloon was non-existent. I don't know why he's got one in the windiest state of the nation, but Austin.
Take off, you loser.
I'd like to say, hey all you hosers. I think the most memorable will be teaching all you Americans how to speak fluent Canadian. And I think the best thing was all the flying, like the cadet, waking Edgar up.
How did you do it?
We stalled the plane and shook it.
My personal most favorite was the first 2 days when you were the most quiet. And the most memorable now, but you gotta remember how many camps we do, and each one's gonna stick out in our mind somehow. And the thing that makes this the most memorable is that I'm a camp photographer as well, and I've been introduced to a brand new sport of bird watching. Thank you, Paul. I'm the chief photographer as well as the chief editor. Adam, you're next.
Oh, you're a good bird. You have a good one?
Hi, Brad.
Inside joke.
Hey, I have to say my most memorable moment had to be the decathlon ride, the aerobatics, and the jokes. Those were quite a few. And the best moment was probably the helicopter ride. That's flights.
Andy Franz.
Okay, let's see. My most most memorable moment would have to be when Steve stuck the glass on the peanut butter. And Wilkerson held it at a 45-degree angle and it didn't move at all. Funnest moment would be when we were spinning in the decathlon down towards the ground.
Further there, Andy. Mike from Baltimore.
I don't remember much.
Storm.
Yes. Oh, okay. Probably most memorable moment was when me and Jim stood out in a storm for a couple hours when we looked like we thought it was going to turn into a tornado when we were standing in the middle of it. And probably my favorite moment was scaring the hell out of Mike in the cadet when I was flying it.
Dang, you just go maybe
This is to our head bird watcher, Paul.
I just want to say I had a lot of fun, and I can't repeat my most memorable moment.
Jared.
Gerard.
I'd just like to say thanks, Paul, for the new nickname.
Not delivered.
I'd have to say the most memorable was Paul and my new nickname. And the best fun I had was in the helicopter. I thought that was a lot of fun. And I'd just like to thank y'all. I enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.
Chris. The ping pong man. Got me today.
I've been here about 10 times.
I let him win. Okay, I guess the most memorable would probably be either Jared's other side or the great dorm mattress heist. I'm not sure, but the most fun was definitely the flying.
Steve, what are you standing up for?
I know I'm next.
Just need to stretch. The restroom's down here, down the hall.
I know I'm next. Right?
I think my favorite moment was the mall, in the bookstore, and the way home from the mall. Hey. Oh wait. And the prank I played on the RA. Remember what he did? He came flying out of my room. He said, "I don't know what he's doing in there."
Mike Mahan.
That's man.
Mahan.
Yeah, that's right.
How's it going, eh? Okay. My most memorable moment was, let's see. Oh, the first night playing cards. Nobody knew each other, so everybody was like yelling and screaming and stuff. It was fun. Anyway, it was a fun memory. What else? I told you what I was going to say. I was going to say. Oh, it was the prank against Micah. We set up his bed so if he sat on it, he would hit the floor. Then the bed would hit the floor. Except he doesn't sit on it, he jumps. The bed hits the floor and it bounces off the tile. And of course, we had to short shoot his bed at the same time.
of you guys is smiley?
Everybody!
Alright, I have something to say a little more on the serious side. This is the first camp I've ever really been to where everyone can work out their differences. I mean, it seems to me like everyone was real cool. There's no one here I have a big difference with, and I just thought it was really neat. Yeah. I enjoyed
Get on in there, you hoser.
and I really did enjoy the decathlon because that stretched my
Stomach.
yeah.
Aaron, you're our only North Dakotan, right?
Yeah.
See you on the long drive.
Yeah, that's true. 1-800-HANG-UP is pretty good. I love it. The favorite moment was pulling 4.5 Gs in a decathlon. Face was like glued to the back. Yeah, I passed out before I took off because he told me about parachute, and I go, oh god. And memorable moment is I'll never forget hoser, or new feet. It's great.
Micah.
Helicopter pilot.
My most memorable moment is a toss-up between watching Strange Brew and trying to crash a helicopter. And my favorite moment was a decathlon doing the loops and stuff.
Tony.
From Denver. Tony from Denver.
My most memorable moment was probably the cadet, because that was the first time I got to fly, and the first time I got to land too. And I'd like to thank the counselors a whole lot.
Yeah, I hope you get the lake.
Leslie. Where's Leslie? Come on down.
Walden Bush.
I have to say the most memorable one was when we were up in Winnipeg and Paula and Jared were looking out the windows at the women. And the best one was probably the mattress heist.
Steve was the first guy I met for Aerospace. He's the first arrival, and fortunately there was John. He was the second.
I'd have to say the most memorable moment was looking out the window of the helicopter. Oh yeah, actually, rather than looking out the doors, it swung open. And the funnest was probably either the fire demonstration in Winnipeg or the decathlon.
This guy's a walking fact. He's a walking almanac about New York. Jeb, I know more about New York and North Dakota now.
New York! Come on, the weirdos. Hey, we're gonna be going back.
Well, my most memorable moment is when I almost made Dave cry by trying to go to sleep in his closet. And I think my most fun moment was probably the decathlon.
And next will be clean.
I have to say my most memorable moment was when I got left behind when they evacuated the buildings. The most fun was the flying, the decathlon especially.
Edgar. Edgar.
How about that chicken, huh?
My most memorable, I probably cannot say right. I cannot say really, but also the flying was definitely, especially the helicopter hovering over the grass and stuff. And watching Alan trying to chase the fox, and also the trip to Winnipeg when we saw the fire demonstration also.
Only one person left. That's for you, Alan.
Thank you, thank you.
Alan, did you cut it yourself?
No, actually Jared did it. My most memorable moment was when me and Adam and Jason, just so you guys know, we took the mattresses from you. Yeah, and Andy. And the funnest was probably in the decathlon, doing the aerobatics.
I have one question. How'd you get in my room?
Chris's key.
That's why she knows you're still there.
Not driving home these people that are flying out. Sorry. They're all in order. Yeah. For workmanship, represents how accurate the builder came to the original, how it's supposed to look. It usually shows general skill and concentration and patience, because obviously the directions are as challenging as VCR instructions. So it doesn't get easier, guys. Don't even think about it. So, for the person that came closest to the original, and mind you that there are some ties and whatnot, and everyone's going to get something different. So, the winner for that one's going to be Wesley. Next one's for modification. The winner for modification gets awarded for how different from the original it actually is. Additional parts, additional things like that. The winner for the modification is going to be Mike from Baltimore.
It almost hit the van.
The award for rocket duration. This is a performance rating. The last three are performance. Duration means how long it was in the air. That usually shows how well they aimed it, and also if their parachute worked, and basically if they had a little bit of luck with the wind. Winner for duration this time was Jared. Okay, we did set a target. We did put a target out there. We didn't have to strain too much to put it out there. It was already there. It was a light post, and so some folks tried to aim for it, or didn't aim for it and just got lucky or something. But the person that came closest to the light post was Andy. Okay, finally, the rocket that went the farthest distance from the original launch site was Jason. I'll present the awards for airplane. Aircraft awards will be Sean. I was like, just got a hot cup of coffee, hang on. Once again, workmanship represents the overall, how close it came to the original, and who had the most patience and had the most dexterity and whatnot, and spent the most time with it. That award goes to Colleen. The award that goes to the person who's looks the most different, the one added wings or added different things, went to, modification went to Chris.
Didn't fly too well.
Okay, duration, who had the best lift, or who has the best glide ratio, or is usually represented by duration, who can stay in the air the longest, and that went to Alan. Okay, I was the target for accuracy. I didn't have to duck, but I did feel the urge to move a couple times. But the person that did win the accuracy award for the airplane was Micah. Finally, the award for distance in an airplane. Shouldn't be too much of a surprise, but it does go to John.
What about original destruction of airplane?
The rocket hit a ceiling fan.
I think all of you did an exceptional job. I think just about everybody finished. Oh, I see how that works.
That's not fair, you planned that.
But all of you have a picture. I think all of you did a really good job on working on the models. You were very enthusiastic about doing it. Usually the larger groups are not very enthusiastic about it. And so it was nice to see. I think everybody finished something, right? Everybody did finish something?
Yeah. Mine, some sort of app destruction.
But once again, all of you did fantastic, and I want to thank you all for working on those and putting forth a really good effort for that. Okay, usually I have some pretty funky music to go with the slideshow. Unfortunately, that's the one thing I did forget tonight. At least I brought the trophies and pictures.
Yeah, you almost forgot the one.
And we brought the food.
What are we just going to come? Oh, you can do some oral sound effects.
I can do some plumbing.
So is what we have, because we had it such highly requested up in the slide room, we are going to have the...
Uncensored version?
No, it's...
CBS Masterworks.
CBS Masterworks.
Oh, yeah. Andy, is that classical tape?
Yep.
Is that classical CD?
Yep.
All right.
Is what I like most about taking pictures for this camp is that during the entire 10-day ordeal, and we did get the pictures back from the launch this morning, so we got those through. So all 10 days are on here. So what I think is the most humorous thing about it is that you spend 10 days avoiding the camera, yet look forward to this the most. That's what I don't understand. You're like, I can't wait to see the backs of all these people's heads, because they're all like...
Hey, I wanted you to take my picture, but you never would.
He was watching it.